Ladies and gentlemen, boys and squirrels, thank you for tuning in again today to VetBuilt. I'm Chris. I'm the guy running the Gong Show here. And today we are completely shifting gears. We are not going to be touching a grinder, a welder. We're not going to be touching anything except for wrenches and maybe a hammer. But let's hope it's just wrenches, because if I'm going with a hammer, chances are something's gone sideways. So what are we doing today? Today I am finally going to be working on the Doubler 4 Bluebell, all right? If you've been following along on Instagram, you know that there's been a few things on my to-purchase list that I have been trying to hunt down now for quite some time. That list is rims, an MP241, AN fittings for the brakes and fuel system and cooling and all that good stuff. And there's one other thing that's eluding me right now, but it doesn't matter, because today I am finally going to be working on the Doubler. I got the MP241, so let's head on over to the teardown table and let's dive into this.
Now you can see right here that this is not the best way to pick up and move one of these things here. I really should have a jib crane attached to the table here, but I don't. I'll do that in a future project down the road. But right now it is what it is. I did tweak something in my back, which for the rest of this video I'm going to be fighting, but c'est la vie. Right now I'm marking one of these splines, and I'm going to take a fine pick and octuple check, if that is even a thing, and just check and make sure that I did not miscount the input shaft when I bought this, and it really is a 32 spline input shaft. Now these ones specifically came behind 4L80Es and NV4500 transmissions, and you can see right there that I was right. This is a 32 spline, and we're going to be rocking and rolling from here on in. These wobble bits come in really handy. I think I've only ever used them a handful of times, but as far as I'm concerned, they're well worth the investment. And as I take everything apart, I am just going to inspect it, make sure it's good to go, and there's no hidden surprises, which throughout this entire process, I find some things that you'll find out here in a minute, I'll explain, that I was not impressed with at all. But for what I need, it's a moot point.
All right, if you guys need to split a case, here's a little trick for you. Put a bolt in. If you have something like this here, you can see there's a hole here and all that. You could put a piece of all thread in with two nuts and then spread them apart, but a bolt with a nut does the same thing. It's just a little trickier to get in there. And then, where did I put the wrench? Right here, because I'm using it. You can see the case starting to spread with very little effort.
All right, now right here, what I'm doing is, you see I put some soap on there, and that's Irish Spring, just a bar of soap really. And what it does is I find that it just stops these zip discs from clogging up. Even when they're aluminum specific, they clog up super fast. So you see I just keep putting a little bit on, and ever so lightly just let the weight of the grinder just cut through this case. I'm trying to be very careful not to cut the ring gear that's in there. And I get really close at one point, but I'm lucky it doesn't go all the way through. And just like that, the entire case is split. And I'm just sitting here with a knockometer and a chisel, and you'll see it just cracks itself apart. I tap the ring, cut it again, and we're cooking with canola, or however that saying goes. Now that the ring is spick and span, good to go, I'm going to move on to the case after I consult the instructions once again, make sure everything's nice and clean and in the right orientation, because the way that it goes in this new case is reversed to the case that it came out of. There's going to be no snap ring holding it in place. Now, I almost completely destroyed this right here. And let's just see if you guys can pick up on it. Have you guys figured it out yet? Do you see what's happening? And right there, I finally notice it. In no way, shape, or form was that getting pushed down evenly. That ring was at least 2/3 in before I realized how far out it was. However, at that point I realized it is what it is, and it's either buggered or it's not at this point. So I got it in as far as I could with those metal blocks and got a piece of aluminum and pushed it in the last little bit. And I got lucky. That night I went out and bought a lottery ticket. Now here, I'm putting in one of the bearings, and it says to press it in with a hammer, but I couldn't get it to go the way I wanted. So what I ended up doing, because I didn't want a repeat of the ring gear, I ended up pressing in the bearing as best as I could with a little bit of preheat in the case, and it went in lickety split once I was tapping on it on a solid surface. You can see I'm doing it on the back of the chassis there. But it went in, we're good to go, and we're moving on. Now here I am doing the shift fork, and I really like how they have this set up where there's the Allen key holding in the tensioner screw for the shift linkage. Really, really slick and well thought out by these guys.
All right, folks, so running into a bit of an issue here. The instructions are saying to now input the EcoBox output shaft, but I got no more parts. No more parts for this. All I have for Northwest Fab parts is this box up here, which is all the triple shifter kit. Everything else is gone. So I started to sit there, panic quite a bit, and then remembered that I had to replace the input shaft on the MP205. So I sat here, came over, and I took the shift collar, and if it takes a minute to get it, oh, there we go. But it slides on, which is good. So what this tells me is two things. One, I need to take a break because I've been going at this all afternoon trying to fight through a migraine and a bad back. I'm gonna take some time, go over everything, and then just go from there, because maybe the instructions that are on there are an updated version or something, or maybe there's something further on in the manual that I need to read, or something that I've missed. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to take a break, take a breather, and then come back at it in about an hour. All right, boys and squirrels, we are done. It is together, and I am pumped. Wow, it's not 100% together. There's a few things I'm waiting for Northwest Fab to open up because they're in a different time zone. I gotta wait another hour, but 90% of it is good to go. I'm just waiting for a few yes, no, maybes. You're good to go. Go back, tweak this, but we are there. Now there's still a few things that I gotta do, like install these studs and then mount this to the 4L80E. I gotta put a breather on it, and other than that, that's about it. We're done putting this together, short of actually installing it. So I'm going to call it there for this episode, ladies and gents, boys and squirrels. I'm going to hop back onto the chassis and start sanding this and prepping it for paint, and then going from there. So next episode, I'm going to be chin-wagging about just that, painting the chassis and prepping it and all that other good stuff. And then yeah, we'll see where that takes us. If you haven't already, hit that button, like, subscribe, comment. It means a lot to me. I'll talk to you guys later. Cheers. Stay focused.